Joe.
Look how far we've come.
How you doing? How you
Good,
doing?
Man. It's great to be here. You know, we've been talking about doing this for months now, and we've worked together on some of the stuff that you do with the self-tape contest, and truly happy to be here.
Oh,
truly.
good. This is the way it was supposed to happen.
Correct.
Right? Like,
yes.
So we didn't miss anything. It's right on time. And
yeah.
I'm going to start our podcast with, are you ready? You ready for the surprise question? Okay. Here we go. Everybody, if you're watching it on YouTube, check out Joe's face.
Oh my gosh.
Joe.
Yeah.
East Coast or West Coast?
Ooh. Man. I mean, how do I even answer that? Because I grew up on the East Coast.
Joe, East Coast or West Coast?
And I live on West Coast.
Yes.
If I were to answer this now in my life right now, I would say West Coast.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have that answer 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Because you lived on the East Coast.
Yes.
Right.
Right now, I do love being out here, and all that brings with the West Coast, the weather, the energy, the vibe, all that, the lifestyle. At the same time, I do consider myself bi-coastal because I have clients on the East Coast and we have offices in New York, Boston. So I do spend time over there.
You did during the pandemic a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I remember.
And the summer a little bit too. So I do like being agile and being able to kind of be where I need to be. Right. But home base is here. Home base is Los Angeles. No question about it.
One of the things that comes up a lot with actors or people who are out here in LA, if they've moved from New York, let's say, they're always like, I love New York. I want to go back. So I was just wondering, are you one of those that loves their hometown and want to go back? Or are you here? We need to know right now, are you with us or are you not?
That's so funny. I mean, how do you predict that? Like, you don't know what the future holds. Right now, I'm here. I'm all in right now.
Okay.
That could change,
We'll
by the way.
take that.
Okay.
Okay.
But I want to have like an asterisk.
You can't have a caveat. He keeps saying, but wait.
But wait. I got one foot because I grew up in Massachusetts, and that's where my roots are and my family is. So when I go home, it's nurturing. It's a home feeling. For me out here, it's just kind of me and the people I've met along the way. So it really is different. It is. But I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
I just want to let the record show I'm not really happy with that answer.
You're like, this is not acceptable.
This is not. It was very in the middle.
This won't work. Very politically correct answer, though, I will say.
I love it. Joe, one of the cool things about getting to know you is like knowing your origin story and hearing so much about like just how qualified you are. I hate to use that word, right? What qualifies you? But you have such a rich backstory that I don't think people know about the industry. Care to share a little bit, just like an abbreviated version of it?
I've been very fortunate. So the first part of my career, I was on the radio. I was a radio broadcaster for over 10 years. Sure. Started in Boston. Went to Northern California for a few years, and from there, Sacramento. I was in Modesto. From there, went to South Carolina. I was in markets like Greenville. I spent time in Charleston, which is one of my favorite cities ever. And from there, got into TV hosting. I was a working actor for a few years before moving to LA.
I don't think I knew that part. I don't think you told me that part.
Yeah,
but keep going. Keep going.
I mean, I'm like an onion, man. You gotta just keep peeling away. And before I moved to Los Angeles, which is it's been 7 years ago or so, I moved out to really pursue more of the acting, more of the hosting thing, but also production always was interesting to me, and management. When artists would come through the radio station, their managers would come through too, and I was always like, talking to the artist, blah, 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 talking about their song. What do you do, though, as a manager? Like, that's so interesting to me. And that's why management always was like a calling to me. I was like, it was a natural fit for me. Fast forward, I moved to Los Angeles. I ended up working with a high-level actor who happens to have a catchphrase. He's an Academy Award winner, and that just kind of opened doors for me, truly. With relationships with producers, directors, casting directors, and that's from there parlayed into management. I was a independent manager for a while, and then jumped on with Bohemia last year around COVID time. So I've been with them for a little bit now.
You know, it's interesting. I'm called to ask you right now that I feel like you're a special manager. You know,
I appreciate that.
I really do. And I guess without putting you on the spot, but asking you, one, do you feel that way as well? And what makes you more special, I guess, is the word I want to ask as a manager, because I can put why I think you're special, but I'm wondering, do you wake up and like love on your clients, or do you wake up and you're like, I'm good at this job because I wake up and I make sure I put them first? I don't know, you know. I just wondered about that when you were talking about, you know, execs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that a fair question?
That's a really good question, man.
Well, you knew they were going to come.
Woo! No, this is, I do. And I say that really humbly. Like that's.
We're on the Think Bigger Actors podcast. It's all humble.
Okay. And I say that with respect and honor. Like I do. Mm-hmm. I truly do, and I think it's just who I am, like just the energy I have and what more I can bring compared to others, for sure. You know, I'm young, I'm energetic, I've been around, you know, I know the ins and outs, I know what actors go through, creatively, emotionally, all that. You know, so I do care about them. That's the truth. This is what I do because I genuinely care. So for sure. And by the way, and I want to be surrounded with like-minded people the same way. So people who are like me. When I have clients and they don't have an agent, or they want to maybe find a new agent, let's find someone who's like us, like you know, like the team. And so we all kind of have the same energy. And that's tricky. That's hard to find, to have someone kind of, and I've been lucky. A lot of the agents who I work with clients we're all kind of similar. We're all in the same lane as far as energy and wanting to see our clients succeed and wanting to see them rise to the next level. But not everyone is like that, which is okay. Everyone has their way to do things. I am a little different, for sure.
Yeah.
But that makes me stand out, and that's great. You know, that's a good thing, I think.
I think there's always the questions that are like, we'll get to ideal clients and what do you, all that stuff like that. All that stuff is asked in, you know, typical podcasts or interviews and stuff like that. But I really just was looking at you and I was thinking, sometimes the best manager that I've had or that is out there is someone you click with on a deeper level.
Yeah. And
they get you deeper, right? We understand that we're in this for the business. We can make money, and that's what we're doing, you know, but also it feels like you are doing this for something else.
Yeah, that there is a deeper level to it, for sure. And that's something that just doesn't happen. That's something you just can't go and try and find. That's something that has to happen organically and naturally. So when you go and find a manager, or you go and find an actor or a client to work with, that's some of the first conversations you're having, is get to know them.
Yeah.
So yes, they have the body of work, which is important. Don't get me wrong. Credits is important. But let me get to know you a little bit. Let's dig deeper into your backstory, what you've done, what you're up to, what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Why manager over agent?
Good question. I get that pretty fairly as well. And you know, a lot of folks sometimes will ask, you know, because I do Clubhouse a lot in various rooms. They'll ask, what's the difference? And there is a difference, for sure. You know, managers are more strategic. We're more hands-on. We're more handholders. We're more your anchor. You're at this level. How do we take you to this level, and so on? We help with business decisions if you're at that level. Agents are more just like work, dial, you know, negotiate. They handle all that sort of stuff. We're also in the conversations, but it's sort of different. We're more hands-on with the client, compared to an agent, where it's just more focused on the work. Where managers are too. Don't get me wrong, but it's more strategic of like helping with, if you're developing whatnot. How are your headshots? How is your reel? We're working together on that kind of stuff. Are you in classes? Let's get you in classes. If you're not, what kind of classes are you taking? So like helping like with that, little steps of that way as you build your career. Yeah.
You know, I've said it on many podcasts or many places and spaces that my career changed when I brought a manager on my team. When I brought a manager on my team, and I love my managers that I've had over the years. Each one of them has gotten me to a different, step of my career. But I'm still wondering. Why did you choose to be a manager over an agent? Deep sighs, y'all. Deep sighs.
Why did I choose to be a manager? I just felt like it was a natural fit. It wasn't force for me. It wasn't. I genuinely care about people. I want to be a part of your life. I want to be with you every step of the way. I want to be a piece of the puzzle to your success. And managers are more day to day like that. Could I be an agent? Sure. But I think managers, and no disrespect to agents, we care more in general. I'm saying so, and I'm not saying agents don't, because they do.
Don't come for us.
Yeah.
Don't
DM me.
Don't DM us. Not what we're doing.
I don't want to hear it.
No.
So you know what I'm saying though? Like there's more. There's more there.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I was just wondering. Is it like an agent? I guess the agents and managers, they both get you appointments. You know what I mean? So I know people are out there like, no, a manager doesn't get appointments. I'm like, well, I don't know what world it is, but they do.
Nowadays, maybe 10, 20 years ago, they didn't.
Yeah.
But now we sure do.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And
I think,
I guess maybe the only thing that I see is they don't close the deal, right? But you can,
correct.
right?
You can. If you don't have an agent, then you figure out how you're going to close the deal, whether you hire a lawyer or the manager can do it, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do all that.
Yeah.
He can do all of it, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, some states have different rules.
Yeah.
About actually closing deals, but you figure out if a manager can't do it legally, then you hire a lawyer to do it. If you don't have an agent,
right?
That's how it usually works.
You mentioned Clubhouse. You know how I feel about Clubhouse.
Go on, speak it.
I think Clubhouse it's great. It's great for what it's.
Which, by the way, the only way. How did we meet? How did you get to know me?
I didn't even say what I was going to say about Clubhouse yet. I didn't even.
Plenty of time. Go on.
No, here's what I was going to say, and I think it supports what you were going to say. I think Clubhouse can be amazing, and it also can be a time suck. Sure. I think actors, I've gone on record in saying this, I think actors are using Clubhouse the wrong way, period. I used Clubhouse the right way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I understood the assignment. That's a song I hear. Like I understood that. No, but I feel like when you get in there and you have Joe who's there once a week, right?
Yeah.
So if you ask him something and you say, hey, I need to blah, 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 do this. And he gives you an answer, come back in a week or two. Say, hey, remember me? I did this, da, 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 da. Then you're building a little bit more of a relationship. You're coming back. But what we see right now is people going to room to room to room asking the same question. You already got your answer.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? You're waiting for an answer that feels good to you, to what you really want to do. Then just go do that. Then just go do that. So I'm saying here, great. If we're going to connect on Clubhouse, use it for that. Use it for that. I just feel that way about Clubhouse. I know you feel differently. Look, he's itching. If you were watching this on YouTube.
Well, I mean, look, there's some good things about, obviously.
Yep.
I've met some incredible people on Clubhouse, including yourself and others. The network, the connections, the community building, all that. And you're right. There is a lot of that where actors kind of take the same question and go room to room and waiting for the answer they want to hear that they feel good about, and then they can take it, and because it's a mental thing, and so you feel good about it and you move on. Sometimes on Clubhouse Rooms, you're going to hear information that you're going to hear in one room that's going to be different from another room. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just two different opinions. Here's the bottom line, and the core part of this is that everyone speaking in Clubhouse, it's their experience. It's their opinion. There's no facts anywhere. They're sharing stories or insight from how they're doing it or what they've seen has worked.
Right.
So as a listener, you should take it on as a grain of salt and just take it in. If you resonate with it, great. If not, if that didn't work for you, then that wasn't it. And then kind of move on, or maybe someone else will. That's how I look at it.
I would add one more piece to that. I think that's great. But I think we as actors, there are a segment of us that just wants to go around and collect information. Just collect it and keep it and not do anything with it. So I think you always have to have the action attached to it at the end.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm talking about, like going and taking the action and then coming back. And, if you have this space, everybody's like, it's revolutionary. Like, you could meet casting directors or agents and they'll talk to you for blah, blah, blah. It's great. but how are you using this?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna every time I see you, I'm just gonna say Clubhouse. When we did the self-tape contest of Joe, there were a lot of actors that were extremely happy to see you, to like, I'm Joe, and I'm like, who is this Joe? And I guess, newer actors who hadn't had a chance to get with you. And what I know to be true is you've worked with all kinds of actors. You've worked with like the spectrum on, booking, not booking, development, not, all that. I guess my question is, what are those booking, working, consistent actors doing that might be beneficial for those actors who are starting out, that are developing, that are,
trying to up their game? I mean, a lot of it is timing, it's patience, it's there's really no formula to that. I mean, my working actors are doing great self-tapes, just like my developing clients are. What's the catch? My working actors are seasoned and they have relationships with casting, so they know them when they go in for a role, go in for something. Casting already knows them, so they know their body of work. So they're just kind of trying to put it all together. While someone who's developing, they have a great tape still, but they're not really known yet. They don't really have some great credits that the casting like. Oh yeah, I remember them. I saw them in this. So there's that, and when I tell actors, just hang in there, just continue to do what you're doing. It's stuff's not going to happen overnight. Although sometimes you see actors like, where'd they come from? They just came out of nowhere. No, there's always a backstory, and they've always put in years of work.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just continue to work on your craft, continue to hone your skill, and you'll get there. Just stay with it. Stay with it.
I hear it a lot, and about what's wrong with me. The actor who's starting out, or they're doing, or who's booked a little bit, and now all of a sudden they're not booking, and they're doing the self tapes that you brought up. And I hear like I just want to do the thing. What's the one thing casting is looking for? And my whole thing is, just because you didn't book it doesn't mean you weren't amazing.
Correct.
Right?
Could be a million reasons.
A million reasons why you didn't book it, right? But I guess on your end, you're seeing tapes because you probably watch you do watch all of your clients' tapes that come in. I'm hesitating because I'm like, am I feeding into this by even asking this question? But is there something, again, that you're seeing on these tapes that like, okay, these are more polished, these are what they're doing? Is there anything like that? Or is it just, no, keep doing great? Yeah.
Just keep showing up, keep doing great work.
Yeah.
Obviously having your self-tape dialed in, because that is the future. That is what our world presents at the moment. That includes sound, that includes lighting, that includes backdrop, all that stuff. That includes having a great reader. A lot of folks, their reader is coming in through a Zoom, or they're not there physically. That's fine.
Yeah.
The casting's not there to listen to the reader. They're there to watch you. So just keep doing it. Keep studying. Know your words. Here's another tip. Sometimes I'll see clients reading stuff off of paper. You can see their eyes going down. So that I would try to stay away from that. To try to know your lines for the audition. I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, it also paints allows you to be free,
right,
as the actor. I think in there, doing that. So, I knew that wasn't one. That there wasn't. Oh, you're going to give me this big answer, because I just believe it's coming. Like, you keep putting in great work, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. I mean, you went through it.
Yeah.
Before Bosch hit, like what was your training like? What
I
were you
don't
doing?
remember a time before Bosch.
That's right. You came out here, boom, you booked Bosch right away. Not true.
Not true.
So, like, you know what I mean? Everyone goes through it.
Yeah. It's even crazier is, you book Bosch, and then the show ends, and you think like it's gonna be mayhem. People are gonna be like contracts everywhere, and it doesn't happen that way. Then you're like, oh, okay, that's right. We're here. We're here now. What do? We got to do 5 self tapes a week, or more. We're back in there. I think it's all about what I try to remember, and I hold very, very true to myself, is you're good at what you do, DaJuan.
Yeah.
You're good at what you do. And when you get up there, be good at what you do.
Yes.
You've trained, you've been on shows, you do that. What happens is we start to let the numbers dictate our enoughness, or if we are great at this, and that the numbers are booking, I should say. And that's just not the case. We're in a business where, one, got flipped on its head last year.
Sure did.
You know, and so where there were 25 people going into a room, you know, for the relationships to people you know, now those are 200 people who are getting seen for that same guest star role, which is different.
Yeah.
And they're seeing them from all over the world. So we can't hold ourselves to these different standards. We gotta be like, you know, and so I have to like bring all of that into the mixing pot and just be like, go back to your core of, you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
Be good.
You have to. Because even with the self-tapes now, you're not getting the real-time notes that you would in person like you used to.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of let that go and just decide, make a decision, decide what you're going to do for this role, whatever you're reading for.
Yeah.
And just commit and then do it in full capacity, do it, what you can, and then you walk out.
Leave it.
It's over. Leave it. Release it. And that's another tough part that the actors have is they get hung up on roles. They think, oh, this is perfect. This is my role. Are you kidding me? Like calling everyone they know, I'm auditioning for this. Big mistake. And you shouldn't do that. Like you got to, you know, keep it small, meaning like don't tell too many people about that kind of stuff until you get until like you're really in the mix of the actual role. Okay, then maybe it's time to get excited. But like for the audition process, you know, get focused in, learn your lines, get in there, and then do what you can, show up, and then it's gone. Release it. And if it comes back around, okay, now we have something. Now we can tell you know, whoever.
Yeah. I want to honor the actors out there that are like, oh, that sounds easy in theory. It might be a little more challenging to let it go when you're having one audition a month, right? You know, I'm sitting here in a place of like, oh, right, what did I audition for last week? Or what's going on? I'm moving because we're getting a little bit in my career right now. So I want to honor that there are people out there or actors that are doing like one every other month or something like that. And I think that's a whole different conversation, right? That's a conversation where it's like, how do we up this game? How do we move the frequency on that? So that'll be another podcast.
Yeah.
We'll have to have I have to have Joe back and we'll talk about like, how can they move the needle there? Right?
And that's a different mindset too, for sure. No, and that's a great point. That's a great point.
And so it's harder to let it go is what I was thinking of. You know, it shouldn't be hard to let it go, but sometimes you do ruminate on things because it's like, I just auditioned for X and I haven't auditioned for that, you know, in a very long time.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the things that also stuck out to me about you, Joe, is just one, your love for actors, but just your mindset around it. Like your mindset around how you view the world, but how you view the industry, how you view giving back. You know, you're always like, put me in the game, coach. That's kind of the way I think about you when I'm asking you to do a talk or I ask you to do something. You're like, great. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What's up with that? I mean, you're so like, put me in the game. I mean,
I like to hear myself talk. No, I'm kidding.
Who doesn't? I got a podcast.
You get it. Yeah, I think it just comes. I truly think I have a service heart. I want to help. I genuinely want to help people. I had this abundance of experience. So let me share what I went through. And you're going through something. So here's my experience with that. Let's talk about it. You know, I do like to help. Yeah, I don't know what that is or where that came from, or it's just that it gives me joy, truly. And I think that's what makes me a strong manager is that it gives me that kind of love and joy to help others and see them succeed and want to see them get to the next level and to be a part of that. By the way, when an actor wins or gets a role, that's a win for me too.
Yeah.
So I take that on. It's like, yes, like sweet.
Yeah.
Good moves, man. Like, and let's okay. And then I have the victory. Okay, on to the next. What's next? How are we gonna get them to the next level? So you pause for a second and then you kind of continue on because it doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't.
It never stops.
It keeps going.
So yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. It feels good. It just feels good. I want to do things that make me feel good, and helping and giving back and doing those talks like I do. It makes me feel good. So I'm gonna continue to do it if I'm allowed to do it.
It humanizes you a little bit.
Yeah.
To us, right? Because I think there is this hierarchy somewhere. I don't know how it happened with, you know, agents and managers and actors, and everybody like the actors are scared to talk to their managers or, you know, are scared to talk to their agents because they don't want to get dropped and this big thing. But when we see you out there saying how much you love actors and you're putting it out there, I think it humanizes you and it lets us really believe that you are on the actor side.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope that ripples out to other people's management or their agents, they feel the same way.
Yeah.
About that, because I don't want anybody to be out there scared of their people anymore.
Well, and that's no, you're absolutely right. And I find that just like I'm in awe when you say actors are afraid to talk to their reps. Like that doesn't compute to me. Like, how does that even happen? Like, why? They're there to work for you. If something's going on or something you want to talk about, call them, email them, and sometimes, and I understand, and I'm not like, with me, I respond pretty quickly to usually everybody or within at least 24 hours, and some don't, which is fine. Everyone has their own system. It might take them a couple days, but at least get back to them within a week. Sometimes, clients will reach out to their reps. They don't hear from them for weeks at a time, maybe even months. So I can see the frustration. And so, but don't be afraid of your reps. Like, they're there to help you and to work with you. Yeah. And before you go and find a rep, before you're a manager or an agent, have the conversation before you sign on. Get to know them. Right. Like, feel them out. If you feel red flags, or if you feel like, you know what, I don't think we match energetically, then they're not for you. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I had an agent where I was sitting in the meeting, and you could just see him being deep in thought of like, should I take this guy on or not? And he said to me, he's like, I got 2 guys like you on my roster already. And he's like, I could give it a try. That statement, I could give it a try. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, he's going to give it a try, so I'll go. Yeah. And my mind was, I'll prove to him I'm just as good or better than those other 2 actors. That was a red flag.
Yes.
And that was me being desperate.
Yes.
Right? I was like, I got to get this person. And, we didn't last very long. But when you get into those desperate situations, when you're in those moments, that's when you know you're in the wrong place.
And it didn't last long, like you said. So you kind of had an idea before even things began. Yeah. That something was smelling funny.
Yeah, but I was.
Well, you got to go through that.
You got to go through.
You have to, and I tell actors all the time, you have to go. You have to see what works for you, and sometimes it ain't going to work right away. Yeah. You have to go through a couple reps to kind of see what jives with you.
I've been through a couple reps, y'all. I've been through a couple managers. I've only left one manager. The rest have transitioned out of the business or something like that. But everybody else, I
usually managers stick around longer. Yeah, generally
here.
Not always, but that's usually we're there for the long haul.
Yeah. So there is a thing out there. I want to know about like your clients, like not your specific clients, but like, where do you really look for in a client? Like, what's your, like, do you like them to be what?
Funny? No. Compliment me? No. I like work ethic. I like communicating.
What does work? Wait, let's back up. What does work ethic mean?
Meaning that when you're setting in your tapes in way before deadline. You are, when stuff comes in, you're working on it right away. You're communicating with me if any problems arise. You're communicating with me when you're traveling or you're going to be out of pocket or anything like that. You're in class, you're always updating your headshots if needed, working on reels, creating content, whatever that looks like for you. Always, the wheels are always spinning. Yeah. Things are happening.
Yeah. So not just sitting and waiting.
Hell no. Yeah. Sitting by the phone.
I don't think you can say that on this podcast.
Heck no, man, no. Yeah, but like you just can't sit around anymore. The market is too, it's just too hot. Like you got to be able to jump in and stand out, and you got to work on it.
Okay, so work ethics. What else?
Work ethic, communication. What's a good way to communicate with you? Email, phone call, text, all that kind of stuff. What kind of person are you? Like, what kind of human being are you? Tell me about your growing up. Tell me about your parents, or who raised you. Yeah. Tell me about your siblings. What kind of jobs did you have before acting? What kind of music do you like? Like, just like let me get to know you a little bit. Like, let me take a peek inside your soul just for a little bit. I don't need to live there. Just let me see what you're about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's it. And that's off of that, I can get a good read, a good vibe, and then we go from there. And of course, your body of work, you having a resume and having credits helps along the way.
Yeah. It can often feel like a catch-22 though, right? In that I don't have a lot of credits, but I need a manager to help me get a lot of credits, so do you only work with people who have credits in your world, or is it like, do you only work with people?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's different with this. I do.
No, you're speaking for all the managers.
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
I do. Yeah, I'm pretty picky. I have to have for me at least, a client that has some solid credits. That doesn't mean that A, it can't happen, or B, you could be fine. You can have, you're in one movie and you pop in this one movie that blows up, and all of a sudden you're the next thing.
Yeah.
So there's no like rules or blueprint to it, but that's just you can't predict that stuff.
Yeah, and I guess I will say that there are just people out there who will work with you, right? Like, good people. I don't remember we just said I just got that person was like it could be number 3, but there are people out there who work with talent, and help you develop those first couple credits, and it might not be you, right? Just like the same thing, it might not be CA.
Yes.
You know what I mean at that moment, and so I've had this thought with my actors about coming to people, though, branded, like making a brand for themselves versus developing. And, I got you here, so I wanted to ask this question about, do you want somebody to come, as I call it, the Meredith Grey Post-it note, where they're like, pick me, choose me, love me? Or would you rather them come with like, I don't have a ton of credits, but I got this YouTube series that's going. I have, I do shorts on Instagram.
Yes.
That's moving, so that you're branding yourself that way. And, how does that link up, nowadays?
That's creating content. That's important. That's you not sitting by the phone. That's you creating your own destiny.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, well, I don't have a ton of followers on social media. Does that matter? No, it really doesn't. But as long as you're creating content, that way I can see what you're doing.
Right.
And that's why I go to people's social media, just to kind of get a glimpse into their life of what they're up to, what they're posting about, what they're into. For me, it doesn't matter on how many followers. Just show me what you're doing. Just show me what you're putting up there.
Yeah.
Just so I can get a peek into you, basically. And that if you do have a YouTube series and it goes, that's interesting. Why wouldn't someone be interested in that?
Yeah.
So I'm all about that, for sure.
I think a lot of actors out there, nothing else matters if it's not a network credit. I don't get that.
I don't either.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're like, I can't do a YouTube series. I can't do all these things because what I want is this network credit. So it's like success equals network. And I say network now very loosely, because we're talking about like our streamers and things like that, as opposed to like you could be doing a series on YouTube or on, something else that could be seen, like Cobra Kai or something like that, and go, you don't know where it could go. So I wish we could change that perspective on it a little bit.
I think that's just timing. That's just, I think that's just maturity with that. Because, how can they not see that? How can they not think it doesn't matter now?
Right.
Like, the landscape is wide open. And with all these different platforms and of course YouTube and IG stories and TikTok, just massive, right? Look at what's coming from out of there. So like, no, it's a good thing, and you're creating content and you're getting people to watch your stuff, and that's how to get eyes on you. That's the point, of to see what you're up to, and at that point, that's how you develop and bring on a team.
You said content a couple times here. Content, right? So I'm wondering what kind of content in your eyes might be stronger to go to? Meaning, like, do I do a 1 minute, show on whatever on Instagram, or like, where do I go with content? Because it can seem really big to actors.
Sure. Here's the thing. Don't force anything. If you are someone, I know a lot of folks who just are uncomfortable on social media, or they have to force themselves to make a post or create something. It just doesn't align to who they are. And I totally understand that. But you want to still, but they're like, I got to put something up. I got to do something. So do something that makes you feel happy. Take a picture of a bird or a butterfly, or like you skateboarding on a sidewalk, like something that reflects you, not something that you're forcing into doing something. If you doing a monologue in front of a mirror, it makes you feel good and you enjoy doing it, then that's your thing. Then do it. If it's you going on a hike and taking photos of a LA skyline, then that's it too. And you're navigating it and putting stuff together, like whatever. Yeah. Do stuff that makes you feel good. So content in that sense is just content to have up on social. You're not saying content in the sense of I have to sit down and write a film. No, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
again, that this is just this is my opinion.
Nope, you're speaking for everyone.
If you, by the way, if you want to sit down and write a film because it's calling to you, make the damn film.
Yeah.
You should do that. If it's like, oh, God, I can't write, but I got to put content out, like, how's this going to work? Like, now you're forcing it, and it probably won't work.
Yeah.
So do something that just, whatever that looks like for you. If that's hopping on TikTok and doing dance videos because you like doing it and it makes you feel good, that's it.
Yeah. I've often believed that actors are the only ones that wait for something to happen so they can act or do their career. For example, writers write spec stuff. You know, directors, you want to go out there, they're going to go direct something so they can show you that they can continue to do it, or, you know, and so forth, right? It's like, why are we waiting? We should be out there creating content or putting something up or doing something that showcases our stuff. So when the right time or person comes, you know, it's there. I don't believe that it's all going to be found in a headshot. That the execs, the people who are out there, they're on Vimeo, right? Or they're on YouTube. They're on those spaces looking for these new people. TikTok.
Yes.
That's where they're at. They're not like, send me all the headshots so I can see. So if you continue to put content up there, even if it's not great, and I always like to use Issa Rae's story. When I used to watch Misadventures of the Awkward Black Girl, like the first 4 episodes were not amazing, right? It was like, dude, she's always Siri is always listening. She is always listening. I love it. I love you too, Siri. But Issa Rae didn't. It wasn't like the lighting was bad.
Yeah.
There was a boom in one shot. I remember looking at it, but she kept making that content. You know what I mean? And everybody wants her story, but they don't remember this other side of it. So I'm a big proponent of get out there.
I agree with that. And it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be polished. Yeah. Just get it out there. Like, don't overthink it. Like, just boom, it's out. Let it go. Yeah. Just like the self-tapes. I agree.
What's next for you? I mean, you know, in the sense of...
What's next? Man, oh man.
You know, because I think like I see you in my mind's eye on a stage or something, you know, giving back and talking to a lot of actors and, you know, and making them feel good and all that stuff. Would you like to do something like that?
Absolutely. You know, that that's potential. That could be a possibility for sure. I would like to do that. Yeah. I think that's a fit for me. And what that looks like exactly, still trying to figure that out. But I wouldn't disagree to that at all. I just it is a fun thing for me to do. It's a natural a love for actors, man. I just really just like being up there and just sharing my experience and giving what I can. And that's what it's about. Truly, that's what it's about.
Maybe I need to have an in-person event, you know, once we get on the other side of all of this pandemic. And would you come?
100%.
What? Did you hear that, everybody?
Yes. Mark it down. And I'm glad we're doing this in person because we talked about, because you've been doing stuff on Zoom. I'm like, no. I want to be in person with you. I want the energy, because that's what you get when you do stuff in live and on stage or whatever. The energy. Yeah. And so... That's what I'm about. Like, let me get on stage and let me help those, but let me be there in person so I can feel the energy and give it right back.
How's the energy?
This one?
Yeah.
Not bad. No, it's great. It's great. You know you're great. This is this is great. Like this is I love the format. You've been doing it for a while now, and you continue to amaze me with all the stuff that you're involved with. Truly, so
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Here's my last question for you. What's something that you think actors don't know about reps or managers that you would like them to know?
Well, we are human beings. And
I don't believe that.
And by that, I mean... There's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that they don't know about. The phone calls, the relationships, the emails, the showing up to meetings on behalf of your client, coffee, lunches, all that stuff is part of what we do. And, you know, when stuff doesn't come in as quick as actors want it to come in, don't get discouraged, because we are still working. Like, timing is everything. That's a big part of all of this. Yeah. Is right place, right time, a little bit of luck and skill. But we're doing all we can, and most of us are. and because we care, and there's a lot of stuff out there, and there's a lot of stuff to, we want to get you seen for, and it's more than just submissions. It's really establishing relationships, and that's the overall everything is relationships.
Yeah.
No matter how you cut it, is relationships with casting, with actors, producers, crew, like whatever. It's people want to work with people they like.
Done. Over and over and over again.
Mic drop.
Yes. I think when you get that as a younger actor or as an actor, period, like it'll change for you. I remember I came out here and I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. I have relationships. It's not who you know. Cut to like 15 years later, it's all about relationships. It is all about relationships. It is. It really is.
And it took you a little bit to learn that.
That was just me being hard-headed.
Yeah. No, not you. Not DJ.
Oh, Joe. I have so many more questions in my head. Things just spring up and they go, but I can save them. I'll get you on an Instagram Live, or we'll do something. We'll do something like this. But thank you so much for popping in.
This was great, man. Great to be here.
Yes.
Great to be here.